Mr. Yusa, we'll start off with you now. Given the relentless drone strikes is Kiev now witnessing a shift in Russia's battlefield strategy?
Greetings to studio guests and all audience. Those Russian strikes that happened every night, and last several nights it was really serious strikes that led to deaths of 3 persons in Kiev, where I'm living, and another attack on different objects, first of all, residential buildings in Ukraine. As for me, it's a clear sign that Russia wants to destroy Ukraine. That's all. When Russia says that they want to help the Ukraine, that want to survive Ukraine, we see Russian deeds. On words, Russia told about peace. On Russia deeds, they trying to kill everyone in Ukraine, and constant attack on residential building demonstrates that fact. And it's not because some Russian drone was destroyed in the air and while falling, they damage houses. It was direct hit to the houses. That means that there was targets. That's why Ukraine always say that it's hard to talk about peace with a country that want to destroy you. And now today negotiation in Jeddah, I think it just attempt to understand whether Russia is ready for 30 days truce without any conditions, or Russia actually has those conditions with one reason, not to have this 30 days ceasefire. So now we will see, but from Ukrainian perspective, we don't see readiness of Russia of the talk, and we want to hear Russian arguments of what will be said to the United States of America, to their proposition, but we are not sure that they agree with that without conditions. With conditions, of course, they will agree, but conditions is not good for Ukraine, and Ukraine will not accept it. Thank you.
Dr. Markov, what is the true Russian stance? Does Moscow view Trump's mediation as a genuine opportunity for peace or a tactical pause? We've heard Mr. Yu say that Moscow wants to destroy the whole of Ukraine.
Of course, Moscow wants not to destroy the Ukraine, but to liberate Ukraine from the criminal, illegal neo-Nazi regime, and to allow millions of Ukraine to join their motherland, which is Russia. And the relation between Ukrainians and Russians, it's not like between French and the British. It's like between Syrian and Arabic, Egyptian and Arabic, Saudis and Arabic. Ukrainian people is a part of the Russian people during more than 1,000 years. And that's why for most of them, Russia is a big motherland. As to Russian tactical strategy, Russia wants to make the peace deal, but Russia regards current Ukrainian regime as illegal and criminal, and Russia already has two kind of ceasefires: Minsk I agreement and Minsk II agreement. Both of them have been sharply violated by Ukrainian regime. So Russia don't want to repeat same mistake which lead to the catastrophic result. Russia believes that this ceasefire will be used by party of war among Western countries, first of all now European countries and Great Britain and France as their leader, just for using the time for full armament of Ukrainian army and recovering of Ukrainian army after defeating during the last year. So Russia wants to stop militarization of Ukraine during this period. And it's clear 3 stages. One is temporary ceasefire, meaning embargo on about the strike against energy infrastructure, which Russia already doing, but only limited, only not against energy infrastructure. Second is a full ceasefire but temporary for 30 days, and then peace deal. And Russia wants to be sure that this temporary ceasefire will be not violated by Ukrainian regime, but party of war from Western countries, which is first of all represented by Great Britain, France, and some other small European countries. So this is clear Russian strategy.
Mr. Hughes, now talking about the energy being targeted now with nuclear facilities increasingly targeted, how does Ukraine assess the immediate risk of a catastrophic incident? Dr. Markov mentioned that it is only limited.
When Russian drone attacked Chernobyl nuclear power station defense block, it's not a limited problem. It's a serious problem if it's actually exploded and undermined nuclear power station, let alone the biggest European nuclear power station in Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station that is emphasized the largest in Europe, actually. So that's why Ukraine said that let it be under control of the United States of America, this Zaporizhzhia nuclear power station, and that will be the best guarantee of security of these nuclear power stations, that it will not be captured by Russia. So, but nevertheless, I think risk remains, and the constant attack, and as I said, that Russian liberation means murdering of Ukrainian people, actually. So Russia told a lot about that, but we see people dying in their houses after Russian strikes, in not only in Kiev, actually. I talked today with people from Krasnopilya. It's a village at the north of Ukraine at the border with Russia. This village practically destroyed by Russian forces. So it's a clear signal that Russia, under world liberation, Russia wants to destroy Ukraine, and no matter what they're saying, the main thing what they're doing is they're destroying Ukraine. So that's why I don't think that there is no limited aggression about nuclear power station. I think that Russia thinks to do that, think to make damage to them. Yes, they are not do it absolutely, and of course they can do more, but more means a big catastrophe for whole world. Imagine if Russian rockets, and we see how many rockets attack Ukraine every day, damage our several Ukrainian nuclear power energy plants. It will be really enormous one, more serious than Chernobyl in 1986, and that's why we are talking about guarantee at least for nuclear power station for Ukraine from our partners, from the United States of America, from other countries, and we're not sure that Russia agree with that. So that's why today's talks, one of their item is a guarantee of security of nuclear power generating facility. Thank you.
Dr. Markov, how does Moscow interpret Keir Starmer's warnings about European vulnerabilities and talk of a darker future and their implications on Russia?
First of all, Europeans want to call the troops as peacekeepers, but it's absolutely wrong. We shouldn't repeat them. Peacekeepers could be only neutral countries like India, Indonesia, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, Brazil, and others. Members of NATO cannot be independent. They're not independent, they cannot be peacekeepers. They're war keepers. I think it's a new word which we should start to use. War keepers Europeans. And it's not only European members of NATO, but also generally member of Rammstein group. It's a group of 52 countries which are supplying Ukrainian army by arms, and all of them not neutral. No one of them could be peace keepers. And Russia will regard their troops on the Ukrainian territory as occupation troops, and will treat as enemies who come to fight against Russia, and they will be legitimate target for Russian rocket missiles and aviation attack. And from our point of view, United States now see senseless of this war. It's a very good decision. United States was main organizer, main engine of the Ukrainian regime, which led to this war. That's why, and it's very good that they want to stop it. But I want also to say that Mr. Ivanishvili very correctly represent position of Ukrainian government. And you can hear him, and now you understand why the negotiation of the Kiev regime absolutely senseless. All the negotiations, they just lying. And that's why we believe in Russia that if we make a ceasefire deal, it will not continue too long because it will be violated by Ukrainian regime with full support of the European countries. All of them are liars. You understand? European politician means liar. So no trust to them. And if United States will be realistic in making some kind of monitoring for such ceasefire, great. We will strongly support this. But probably it's not only United States, but also in other countries like China, India, Brazil, also can be invited as neutral country to take part in monitoring of such a ceasefire. If so, it has chance to win. But to rely on the decision of Ukrainian regime and European countries, it's absolutely senseless. They are lying in every sentences.
Well, Mr. Qnews, now, beyond the obvious territorial integrity, what are Ukraine's non-negotiable demands for sustainable peace, a sustainable, uninterrupted ceasefire then?
Of course, territory, as you mentioned, first of all, but Ukraine will not limit our forces. We need our forces as we see constant danger from Russia. This actually constant danger to Russia led to such situation when two countries in Europe, namely Finland and Sweden, decided to join NATO. Before the 24th of February 2022, those two countries don't plan to be in NATO, but now they understand that it's the only way. It's the same situation in Ukraine when we understand that the Russia under current regime, when it exists, it will be constant threat to Ukraine. That's why we could not limit our forces. We could not, as I said, recognize Russian territories, and we could not say that we forgot about more than 150,000 crimes committed by Russian soldiers during 3 years full-scale war, and about the economic damage that Russia caused to Ukraine, that as of September 2024 was estimated at $1.164 trillion. The figure now is larger, but we could not say that we forgot about that. So that's our red lines, but okay, I understand that money, of course, should be calculated more properly. That's why it should be independent assessment. But as for decreasing of quantity of our army and providing Ukrainian army by new arm from our partners, not only from the United States, from Europe, from Turkey, or from South Korea, the countries that really help Ukraine and really make us stronger, we could not say that this process should stop. That's our red lines. And yesterday at the meeting between our Minister of Defense, Mr. Romero, with representatives from the United States of America, we described this position that we could not limit our soldiers, we could not stop military aid to Ukraine as for current stage. So that's why it's the position where we state, but I try to emphasize that let's wait what will be tomorrow and what will be decisions after tomorrow's meeting. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Markov, you've mentioned that Russia is very serious about reaching a ceasefire deal, and it's engaged in negotiations. So how does Russia justify the recent intensified strikes on Ukrainian critical infrastructure?
It's just lying about intensifying of Russian strike against Ukrainian infrastructure. It's just lying. You can look at the figures and you will see that it's same level, no intensifying. But there are some even limitation of Russian strike because Russia didn't target now energy infrastructure, exactly as Vladimir Putin promised to Donald Trump. And you may know that Donald Trump many times mentioned that Vladimir Putin every time follow his promises. And don't pay too much attention to the words from Ukrainian officials. They are just lying. And also, if we want to have guarantee, security guarantee of Ukraine, of course, Ukraine should have security guarantee. And the best security guarantee is to come back to situation between 1991, after Ukraine became independent, and 2014, when it was the military putsch overthrowing the Ukrainian president. Before this, Ukraine was democratic, peaceful country and had absolutely no any security problem with Russia. So the main security guarantee for Ukraine is democracy and demilitarization and denazification. If it's happened, Ukraine will enjoy peace and prosperity as Ukraine already enjoyed between 1991 and 2014. But if Ukrainian regime continue to be terroristic one, of course, Russia will continue its pressure. Russia will continue first to protect itself from any terrorist attack from Ukraine, and also to liberate Ukrainian people, which is regarded by Russia as our Russian Ukrainian brothers.
Mm-hmm. Dr. Qnews, now you've heard Dr. Markov making a statement about how Russia wants the situation in Ukraine to be now. Considering Trump's statements of de-escalation and things are somewhat under control, what concrete actions does Ukraine really expect from any U.S. mediation?
First of all, actually, US always blocked Ukrainian membership in NATO. That's why when someone accused Ukraine that you moving to NATO, yes, Ukraine want to be in NATO because we have a fear from Russia, like Finland and Sweden do. And actually, you can see that there was no question from Russia to Finland that Finland in NATO, but Finland in NATO means plus 1,273 kilometers of border between Russia and NATO, 300 kilometers from Finland means NATO to St. Petersburg, the second city of Russia, but for Russia it's not a problem. That's why NATO is not a problem for Russia. Problem that Russia want to regain Soviet Union. Actually, I'm more than sure that Putin planned to regain Soviet Union until the end of 2022. It means 100th anniversary of Soviet Union creation, in the end of December 1922 the Soviet Union was created, but he failed in that plans. Now I think that of course NATO and the Ukrainian membership in NATO under question. It's President Trump directly stated, but he so have a lot of statement about future of NATO, let's be frank. That's why Ukraine have several versions. First, if we are not in NATO, we can have the status of the main ally of the United States without NATO. They have such status. Second, it's idea that appeared in Europe that if the United States of America try to be out of NATO, so Europe should form a new alliance, probably with Japan, with South Korea, with Canada, Australia, New Zealand, with Turkey, of course, because Turkey is the second power in NATO, and should Turkey interest should be taken into account in solving even war of Russia against Ukraine, because ethnically Crimea is a Crimean Tatar land, and Crimean Tatars is very close to Turkey nation. That's why Turkey that's why Turkey constantly mentioned that it should be Ukraine. So that's what we see from Ukrainian prospect. Thank you.